wheel, use a 19mm socket, take the lug nuts off. Take the wheel off. Take these two caliper bolts out, use a 17mm socket. Take a screwdriver and just pry the caliper out a little bit. And compress the piston. And slide that off. Take a brake caliper hanger. And then attach it to the coil spring. Take the brake pads off. Take these two caliper bracket bolts out. Use a 21mm socket. Take those out and slide the bracket right off. Take the rotor off. If it's stuck on, you can take a hammer and just hit in these locations. Just be careful of the studs. Clean up the hub surface. You can either use a grinder, just be careful if you're using a die grinder, or a wire brush. Take a thin layer of anti-seize and just put it on the hub. Take the rotor, start by putting it on backwards. Take some brake parts cleaner and wipe it down with a rag. Flip the rotor around. Do the same on this side. Now clean up the caliper bracket. Take these pad slides off and use a screwdriver. Just pry these off. Take a wire brush, clean any of the rust buildup right here. Take a little brake caliper grease. Take the new pad slides and slide them in position. Lock them down. Do the same on the other side. Take the slide pins out. You can spray this down with brake parts cleaner. Wipe it off. If it was extremely rusty and corroded, then you can spray some brake parts cleaner in there and clean that out. Brake caliper grease and just grease up the pin. Slide it back in, make sure it seals, and do the same for the other side. And just take a thin coat of grease and just put it where the pads are going to meet the pad slides. Take the bolts, you can clean them up a little bit and put a little thread lock adhesive on the bolts. And slide the bracket on. Put the bolts in. And I'm going to torque these bolts to 122 foot-pounds. Install the brake pads. Take the brake hanger off the caliper. And take a caliper compressing tool. And compress the brake caliper. Now install the caliper and install the 2 bolts. Torque these bolts to 53 foot-pounds. And reinstall the wheel. Now I'm going to torque these wheels to 100 foot-pounds in a star pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And just go around again, double check. Make sure you pump the brake pedal afterwards. There's going to be an air gap between the caliper piston and the brake pads. Nice and slow until the pedal feels good. Check your brake fluid level and adjust accordingly.